We could have potentially sold some things to this guy for a little bit more. He is a weaponsmith, so theoretically, if we were to sell swords, we'd get a slightly better deal. Don't know if crossbows also fall under that category or not. They very well may. As for swords that we actually want to sell, though, we have picked up our fair share of relatively powerful, relatively rare swords recently. So I know there was a point in time when we were saying we had a lot of similarly powered ones that were maybe things that we wanted to store and or repair at some point. Like Forgotten Brand Sword is a little bit weaker than our current sword, however, it is down all the way to 17% durability. So if we were to repair this, then with 3 sockets as well, could start to become competitive with our current sword. So that we should probably hold on to. As for the other ones, like, it pains me to say this, but maybe the Viper Silver Sword might be on the way out. This is awfully close to what our current sword has in terms of damage. That should probably stay. Dwarven Blade looks like that's probably on the way out as well. For 174 coins. It's not bad, so I think that's probably worth saying goodbye to that. Did also sell our saddle, or well, we upgraded our saddle. We should sell our old one. Don't know if you technically have a premium on saddles, or if the other person does. But either way, you'll be fine there. That one's not as expensive an item, so the markup, or markdown, is not as much of a factor. We have plenty of runes. Lead. Huh. I don't know if we've ever seen lead before. Parchment? What? What? Why are you selling parchment for 57 coins? Can that be turned into some really nice crafting materials? Is that why that's worthwhile? I don't know. We do have some crafting material, or rather, repair kits here. We have a few on ourselves. I think one of our swords is the thing that is the most beat up at the moment. We might want to craft something first, though, so I want to take a look at what our crafting material, or rather, crafting options are with this guy, and then we should assess as to whether it makes the most sense to just make something that is altogether new, or if it's better to repair what we currently have. Because we are now level 11, so I think we might be able to have access to some of the stronger gear that we saw as options for crafting, but thought that it was a little preemptive to try to make because, well, couldn't equip them yet. These are mostly runestone manuscripts that I think we've seen in, or diagrams, I should say, that I think we've seen in many previous locations. Granted, I don't think we've necessarily bought them yet, so that is potentially still something that might be worthwhile. Lots of valuable gems. At some point, they may prove very useful, because I'm assuming that there's a reason why they're so valuable, and that they might be things that you use toward powerful items. Gold and silver, I know for a fact those are going to be that way, and dimeridium, maybe even a little bit of steel. I think steel is going to be pretty common in some of the stuff that we're looking to craft. So, not necessarily too keen on purchasing any of those valuables just yet. I think it's going to be fairly rare at this stage that we're going to need them. And as long as we're mindful of not selling the ones that we do pick up on our various quests, then I'm hoping we're going to be in pretty decent shape on that front. So, not seeing anything for that reason that totally jumps out to me just yet. Instead, unless like one of these weapons is absurdly good, this one is not terribly expensive, and it only requires one more level until we're able to use it. That's actually a little bit intriguing. This one we can equip right now. These are just normal rarity, and they still deal more damage than our current weapon. That leads me to believe that if we look at our crafting options, we're going to find some pretty good stuff relative to what we currently have. So I think it's seeming more and more like that ought to be the priority here. We could even dismantle some things. It's been a while since we last did that. Look at crafting first, though. So I'm most interested, not so much in materials, as much as I'm interested in... No, not crossbow bolts. You guys were saying we actually want to be careful with these because they weigh quite a bit if you purchase, or if you create a lot of them. Sure, one of them is 0.01 weight, but if you get 100 of them, then suddenly they start to add up. And you could quite easily get 100 of them if they come in... Oh, for a second I thought they were coming in batches of 1, 9, and 19, but that's actually the level, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, let's craft some junk. Here, for example, this weapon we are 1 level away from being able to equip, and I believe it is stronger than what we were seeing those other swords as, from a damage standpoint. Oh man, so many things that we are very close to being able to use. So I wonder if maybe we hold out for just a little bit longer, and then we can manage to, or I mean, we could craft them now and then just hold on to these items and wait for the opportunity to use them. But these all are catching my attention. Again, they're normal rarity, which would suggest that in the future there might be significantly better options. Oddly enough, those were all silver swords, and there were options for the level 11, 12, 13 range, or more like the 12, 13, 14 range. But on steel swords, there's not so much in that area, and therefore, actually not a lot, to be an upgrade. Nilfgaardian Longsword is the highest level here, and it is just barely not a damage upgrade, and if we were to repair our current steel sword, then I imagine that our current steel sword would continue to outclass this by even more. So I think that means that on the steel sword side, we either want to purchase something or we want to repair what we have. Whereas on the silver sword side, we might want to hold out just a little bit longer and then either craft something to then equip once we do gain 1 or 2 levels, or come back to a craftsman of some sort. This is actually silver sword. We really want all silver swords? We really want steel? That's steel. This is one of the ones we... That's one of the ones we sold to you. If all of your steel swords are level 12, this one is not. Granted, could we surpass 25 damage if we were to also put in rune stones, which we might be able to do on our existing steel weapon? I mean, that does mean we're investing further in our current steel weapon, which is maybe not a great idea for what would still ultimately be, in the grand scheme of things, pretty low-level weapon. Let's double-check. Can we actually check our inventory from this page, or do we need to untalk to this guy? Might need to untalk to him. Oh, well, this should serve the same purpose, I think. That's... Our silver sword is on 0%. That is probably worth repairing a bit, because we're going to be holding on to this for at least a little while longer. Steel sword is actually doing okay from a durability standpoint. It's not amazing, but we could probably... Well, I mean, we were saying we probably want to replace this outright. So I think we don't really want to invest in this guy any further. We're mostly just looking for something to take its place. So let's... How much does it cost to repair this? Is that 76 or is that 200? That is extremely misleading. Repair equipped. Well, repair equipped, I think, means like repair absolutely everything. Whereas if we repair this specifically, it's 200. Wow. That is a lot. Could we get something better for 200? No, wasn't it silver though that we needed? Just one more level? I think what we do is we'll repair our silver sword just a little bit using our weapon repair kits. I'm assuming that'll be a little bit more cost effective, and then we don't have to go all the way back up to 100% for something that we're only going to be using for a little while longer. And then while we're here, let's dismantle some other things. Some other junk. Yeah, the seashells, sure. Let's dismantle fishing rod. Generally our junk items. And we do have a little bit of hides. We have been selling a lot of those, so I think on occasion it is probably still worthwhile for us to turn them into their components, just so that we're not completely devoid of those if and when we do need them. And these, I'm pretty sure, are more or less useless. String. I don't know if string is better than thread. I'm not certain, so let's keep that as is. Wire, however, turns into iron ore. Similarly, I'm not sure if steel line is better than steel ingots, or steel ingots, I'm assuming we would use a fair bit of, because those are the types of things we'd probably want to end up putting in a lot of crafting recipes for armor and swords. First scraps, maybe? I'm assuming that's not something we'd be using directly. Maybe it is. We only have 2 of them, so maybe we want to hold on to it. Monster Essence. I'm not sure we've ever seen that before, actually. I'm a little tempted to get just a tad of that. You can actually get rid of water into its components. That's interesting. Rotting blood can turn into monster blood. I'm not sure if we have any of that generic monster blood, monster essence. Let's do just the tiniest bit of that. It's also very expensive. Wow. The stuff is valuable to sell as well, so I suppose that may have something to do with it. Just do a tiny bit of that, because I feel like there's certainly the chance that we may need some of that stuff for crafting recipes. I'm going off the top of my head here. I'm assuming that we may actually have some of these things, and I just don't remember. But I'm just trying to mix things up a little bit. I did hear that wolf's liver is actually fairly significant. Let's deliberately keep that. Neck or eye, however, let's take a similar approach. Just dismantle a few of them. Leave a little bit of the generic materials on hand in case that is something we need for anything. Spectre Dust, I suppose, same thing. That sounds like that might be a little bit more valuable / rare. But it just gives us... I mean, we do have a fair amount of those materials to begin with. We're dipping our toe in the water here. Even wolf's liver, we have 29 of these. Even if this is useful, let's keep the vast majority of them. Because I remember, that is important. But it does just give us a little bit more of the other stuff, in case there's anything that currently held back on. We don't have enough of those other materials. So I think...
So long.
We say farewell. We repair our silver sword directly, ourselves, using... It's an armor repair kit. Where's the weapon one? I'm assuming we have a weapon repair kit somewhere. I thought we did. Is this it? Master Armor's repair kit, but what about the weapons? Like what about the weapons? Hold on. Those are all weapons. That's a torch. These are bolts. Runestones. Those are all glyphs. That's obviously armor. But I would assume it shows up in the armor or in the weapon area. Oh, we can scroll down. That's where it is. Okay, it's hiding. So what I'm thinking is probably don't need to put 40% durability, or at least use these valuable 40% durability restoration journeyman's weapon repair kits on an item that we're only going to be using for a little while longer. Let's just throw a couple of the amateur ones on. We actually only have a couple of the amateur ones. The idea there being we're just buying ourselves a little bit of time before we can find ourselves in a position to get what will hopefully be a fairly significant upgrade on the silver sword side of things. So, oh, there were Nilfgaardian soldiers here. Okay. Interesting. You know, I was looting not so far from here. That was maybe a little bit riskier than I realized. Because we know what happens if those guys see us. Here is the notice board. Let's check it out. And by check it out, I mean throw some punches at it. I swear. There we go. Okay, so I believe what we have established is that these ones with little emblems at the bottom are significant, whereas these ones that don't have those emblems are not, but we'll read them anyways. Goose has stopped laying. Hark and help, any who can. My goose has stopped laying, though she's not but a year old. The peddler said to smear her rump with rapeseed oil to get her laying again. But when I tried that, she pecked my hand so hard I still wear the bruise to this day. So I'm asking if anyone knows another, safer method. Okay, I mean, I suppose we'll take it. Warning, hark. Went to Crow's Perch to do a spot of trading. We have dipped our toe in Crow's Perch. Then bandits just spat on my mugs, then shattered them all against the ground out of spite, and gave me a sound beating on a lark. Take counsel from my misfortune and stay away from that perch of miscreants. Okay, so bear in mind, might find some rabble-rousers in and around that area. Quest from Honora. Listen here. My man Johners left me and our pack of nippers. Took whatever valuables he could carry, and walked off, without a word about where to. If you cross his path, your path crosses his, spit on his face for me. Okay, yeah, let's definitely take that one. Alright, here is an actual contract. East of Honorton. I don't think that's where we are right now. Good folk, there's a vile and dangerous spook, beast or devil of sorts, causing no end of trouble near our village, Honorton. We promise our profoundest gratitude and a sizable reward to any brave lad who can slay it. If you're looking to learn more, come pay us a visit. Ask for the alderman, Sobermere. That may be the alderman that we were just talking to, but I thought this had a slightly different name, this village we were currently in. Thought it also ended in TON, but had a different beginning. Could be wrong, though. Okay, another contract, missing soldiers. Let it be known that the Imperial Army is in need of a man who knows the area, hunter or scout, for example, to help us find a missing patrol. It is possible the soldiers fell prey to a monster. If this suspicion is confirmed, anyone delivering the beast's head will be paid a reward by the undersigned. Address any and all questions to the same individual. Glory to the Emperor. Milan Norin, commander of the division stationed at Orton. Orton is where we are right now. So those are probably the Nilfgaardians that we were just walking past. Witcher wanted. Witcher wanted to root out and exterminate the monsters rampaging around these parts. During the time it takes to complete the contract, said Witcher will have the right to room and board in the Alderman's hut, costs deducted from final pay. Message from the Alderman of Lindenvale. We have been to Lindenvale. New market for an undiscovered location. Oh, these should be the same descriptions that we were just reading. Missing soldiers. Oh, Witcher wanted does turn into something. Okay. Didn't have the emblem, so that surprised me a little bit because it sounded like something that was directly targeting Witchers, of course. History of the Byways murders. Okay. Let's take a look at our quests here and see what level those are. I would still like to finish up this quest here. Make sure we do talk to Kira soon. But, Witcher contracts. East of Honorton, 25. Okay, so that's a ways out of our league. Similarly, with Mystery of the Byways murders, that's another one that we just picked up. And don't recognize any of the other names. Okay, that's something. Is this actually a separate fast travel location than one that we saw closer to where we initially came through here? No, okay. For a second I thought there was a fast travel location right there and one right here. I was like, that's a little excessive. Okay, so I think in that case, this is probably a good opportunity to go back to Kira and wrap up that quest over here near Midcops, so that we can make sure that is truly done and dusted. And then I assume that'll probably be just that, so we've basically done everything. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, we were sort of standing next to this, but technically not activating it. Let's do this, and then we might explore some of the other areas in and around that area where we just were. See if there's anything new in the general wilderness we've not yet discovered. Okay. So we'll head on over.
Told him to patch the road.
Oh, hold on. Beggar tick required. And I'm assuming there won't be any unexpected surprises here with Kira, because we did basically okay. Except maybe that. Because we've done everything that she asked us to do. So I don't really expect there to be much else. Unless she has a follow-up mission of some variety for us. Some kind of monster over there. I vaguely remember that we've checked that area out before. I'm not terribly concerned about it. Mostly, I would just like to speak to one Miss Kira Metz.
Geralt, just when I was starting to miss you.
Thanks. Sort of, kind of, maybe us too. Mage from the Owl, tell me about him. I suppose we could ask her about that mage before we actually tell her that we finished the mission. Kind of curious to see what she has to say.
Tell me more about this mage from the Isle. Were you two close?
Never expected you'd take such an interest in my private life.
More interested to know if you bonded as fellow magic practitioners.
Oh, we had little in common in that arena. Oh, Alexander was one of those anxious experimenters for
Yeah, that seems to align with what he did.
The kind that thinks perfect happiness is an isolated tower and a full set of vials and alembics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's definitely what we saw.
Fyke Isle's free of its curse.
And you withheld this news until now? Why? I gave you a Xenovox. But the curse, what was its source?
The dark spell clung to the spirit of Annabelle, the Lord's daughter. To free her and the Isle, Graham, her beloved, had to help me.
So it ended well.
I
Sort
lifted the curse, so the island's clear. Annabelle's soul is free. Thing is, turned out she's a pesta. Graham's dead.
And you failed to notice. You're losing your touch. Be that as it may, Fyke Isle is free of its curse. That's important. I'm almost inclined to say good work.
Oh, but don't you dare say that, because not allowed to compliment the Witcher like that. Alexander was doing some strange research. That is true. Like I was saying before, I am kind of interested to see what Kira's perspective on this is.
One thing's bothering me.
What?
Annabelle said Alexander was studying diseases. She mentioned Catriona. You knew this?
All the mages knew about it. Alexander was a highly regarded epidemiologist.
Was he, though?
I would have given anything for an opportunity to study his notes, but he guarded them jealously.
We might have some of those, actually. Pretty sure we do.
The lamp. What do you want to do with it?
As I said, you may keep it. I don't believe I shall need it anymore, given the Isle's been cleansed. I actually regret not going there with you. Perhaps we can make up for that lost time now.
Thanks, but no thanks.
All
Farewell.
right. Time I was on my way.
Perhaps you'd stay just a bit longer? There's one small favor you might yet do for me.
What is it?
I put in an order for a few substances from Novigrad. The trader
Kira?
was due to be here yesterday, but has yet to arrive.
What kind of
Did you see
substances
what
you talking
happened?
about?
The package is rather important to me.
Okay. I thought she might have been going in a different direction that we probably didn't want to follow, but if it's just another quest, then that seems fine.
Why not? If he was coming here from Novigrad, he must have passed through Blackbow. I'll
Black
check the
Bow,
area.
not Bow. Okay.
Thank you. I shall be ever so grateful.
Okay. That's actually... I was gonna say, is that a continuation of that quest where we're inspecting the island? That seems like a stretch. I'm also kind of curious what level it says this favor for a friend quest is. Yeah, just 6, I was gonna say. If it were suddenly way more powerful, I'd be a little surprised, given how, you know, it's mostly just talking to some people, at least it would seem, but it's never that simple. I do also kind of want to just see if we can
Bet the
do a
old
little
witch who
bit of
lived
trading
here
with
left
you.
you a bunch of interesting sundries.
She did indeed. I gather you'd like a look.
Very much so.
Because we did have, I thought, some useful crafting materials. However, it seems like you still have the things that we sold to you last time and may not have gotten your coin count back because you're currently sitting on 89, which is not a lot. So we could take another look at if there's any particular potions, things of that sort, that we need one or two more ingredients to finish. However, we did that very recently, and I don't think we picked up much in the way of additional recipes in the meantime. We get out of here. So I don't think that's actually terribly meaningful at this point in time. Something we want to keep an eye on, yes. But we did do that very recently. I'm not thinking there will be much for us to do. Then... So I suppose we could do this quest here for Kira. Oh, for a second I thought that was where it was. No, it is down at Crow's Perch. Or is that... Hold on. What quest do we have? With Bloody Baron activated at the moment. I was going to say, we know there is supposed to be something at Crow's Perch, yes. But I think... I mean, this is a low-level side quest, so we are technically over-level for it already. It does seem like it might be as if when you do main mission quests, after you do them, you start to get some additional side quests that are roughly the same level, that are only available to you once you finish said main quests. Like we did I think it was level 6 mission with Kira, and then we had a series of, at this point, 2 or 3 side quests that were all level 6-ish. So, I think that does make a case for perhaps being a little more aggressive with the main quests, at least for some of these other missions. You know, like, we don't want to do them all right away, of course. Like we were saying before, we want to make sure that we still have the opportunity to do side quests, because some of them are actually more timely than the main quests. But if we want to make sure, or at least do what we can, to do quests when they are level appropriate for us, then that might be reason to not let main quests get too low relative to our current player level. But I think it's going to be more of an art than a science. We'll do what we can, but of course with this being blind, there's no way for me to know definitively without, you know, cheating the system. So, let's check this out. Find the ingredients when missing transport using your Witcher senses. Where exactly is this? You said Blackbow in and around is... Oh, near the Hangman's Alley. And we do have a travel location there. I would love here if you had a fast travel location right next door. That would be very convenient. Unfortunately, it is not the case. And this does pain me a bit. It is actually, I believe, this way that gets us to the nearest fast travel location, even though it is technically not the fastest or most direct route if we were to walk. That's okay. Should still be the way to go, I think. And, you know, we'll dip our toe in the water. I don't think there's any reason for us to be terribly concerned about talking to the people in the shops here. I think we've done much of what we are supposed to do here already. Although I was tempted to see if that was lootable there. With the exception maybe being... Doing... Oh, hold on. Not that. I'm looking for this.
Don't you look at me.
And... Get that? There we go. Okay. Then, where exactly is the actual signpost? It is... Oh, we probably walked right past it. No worries. I think I wanted to make sure that we did actually end up There it is. Want to make sure we did get those upgrades or temporary enhancements as well. Okay. Now we fast travel and should be able to make it basically straight to this location. Okay. Very pleasant location at that. There are definitely things going on here. That is not a drowner. That is a bog hag. Water hag. Do these two have anything to do with the quest of note we're currently working on? Possibly? Oh, I didn't realize we actually can't swing our sword when we have the mud in our face like that. I pressed the wrong button to try to dodge out of the way there. I would love to get rid of you. Mostly. And we should probably do something from a sign standpoint. I don't know. Let's maybe not get hit first and foremost. Just like blow you away and one-shot you afterward. Is it really a one-shot if we already dealt half damage? No, not really. Oh, this guy is still on the ground. Excuse me, sir. You were supposed to get hit and like go down permanently. There we go. Okay,